Hey, welcome back to Lupo Outdoors. Today I'm with Tim over at one of my favorite companies, Real Avid. Tim, what do we got for them today, focusing on long-range shooting?
All right, so as we were talking about prior to starting here, you said we're going to start with beginner shooters, bring them all to mile, which, by the way, I think is an awesome project. Coming from somebody that's just going in the PRS world themselves, super exciting, right? So if you're a beginner shooter and you're just getting into firearms, you're going to have to do some sort of maintenance at some time, right? So if you're doing some sort of maintenance, likely you're going to have to loosen and tighten bolts, and you'll probably have to do that with some sort of precision, right? So the two things that you would need, and I think what we should go over here for 25, new for 25 is our X3 series. It is a driver setup with a family of products that come along with that, all right? So I'm going to go over why we call it the X3 driver series, or X3 driver, and then I'm going to go over the different series and configurations that it comes in with, all right? So the X3 driver is a two-component system, right? What it does is it takes the T-handle configuration that we would use to do any type of, tightening or loosening, right? And this is what we know as a T-handle configuration. It's common in the market, but what we did is we added on to that, and we were able to now put a ratcheting system into this. So now we have the ability to take a T-handle and make it into a ratchet, right? And at the same time, if we just needed to be able to use this as a nut driver, right? You have the ability to now use this as an extended nut driver, or even a shortened nut driver, right? Perfect. So these two components interplay with all of our family of other products, right? If we're getting into it, we're gonna need lots of bits, right? Because we all know that these firearms, they have all these different types of bits associated with the different nuts.
Wouldn't it be great if they were all standardized?
Yeah, it would be, but I mean,
we just have 3 or 4, right?
Exactly. But we have all the way. We have the different Torx, the different Torx bits, and then different Allen bits, and then on another kit, if you just wanted to get the bit set up, that's one thing. If not, we have the common bits, Torx, Allens, nut drivers, and then also the ability to have sockets as well, right?
Perfect.
So if you need sockets and bits, this is going to be your case. If you just need bits, that's going to be your case. But at some point, you're probably going to have to do some sort of fixed limitation, right? So we call these torque limiters, right?
Exactly.
So we have two different configurations within the torque limiter family, right? We have the ability to have fixed limiters, and we have a variable limiter, right? So there's differences, there's give and take for both of these, right? So if you have, like, say for instance, a variable limiter, and I'll go over how that works, but if you have a variable limiter, this is going to be really compact. You can put this in your range bag, and it's obviously variable, right? So it has a lot of variety to it. I only need one implement for it,
right?
But what you're going to give up on this is if you're doing like 2 or 3 different torque settings, it's going to take you a minute because you're going to have to change that limitation each time. So you have the convenience of having fixed limiters where I could just go from one to another rather quickly if I was
one on, I'm already there.
100%, right? So if I was using say for instance a 7 and a 12, right? It's as simple as coming here, being able to do my limitation, take this one off, and then going in and doing my second limitation very quick, right? So you get the speed, right? But you don't have the convenience of being able to go in between each one, because no matter what, this is always going to be 7 pounds. This one's always going to be 12 pounds, right? In our range bag, the things that are really nice about the variable one is now I have the ability to use a smaller footprint and have all of those in there, right? So this variable limiter is going to work between 15 and 65 pounds. You're going to see a little toggle switch that you see up here on the top. You're going to push that toggle switch back, and then you're going to use our T-handle setup here. You're going to twist this in either direction to be able to change, and you can see that in the window depending on which direction you go to, right? So whenever you need, or you get to the limitation that you need, you flip this toggle back, and now you use this as regular, as the T-handle or as the ratchet or anything else that we were using.
I see. So it locks it.
It locks it, right? So if this toggle is pushed backwards, you can change the setting. When you get to the setting that you want, you're going to change that back, and that's going to lock to that setting. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to be at whichever limitation you're at, right? So in this case, you can see like the nut itself, or the bolt itself, as we go down, it's going to twist, and then as soon as we get to whatever that pressure is, it's going to break free. You're going to hear that little click.
Yep.
That's how I know I'm at that weight that I need, right?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it's really important, especially in firearms, because this is how we don't break off bolts in our firearms, and then we got to take our guns to the armors
if it's worked itself loose, like the action screws.
Yes,
I can now verify. Always tighten those action screws every time you go over to the range.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things, as a shooter myself, one of the things that I was taught, like growing up in the firearm industry, is we take like a line, right? We take a silver pen, a silver Sharpie, and we put it across the top of the bolt into something else, so you can see if that starts to move. But if it moves, how much weight did you lose? Right. All these different components on firearms, they're designed to be at a certain within a certain window of how much torque we need on them, so that they function correctly.
Exactly.
So,
and then a lot of firearms, the bolt's recessed in. You can't do that little silver line. Right. So you got to go in there with the right torque and go, oh, it was loose. If it's loose, your rounds are going everywhere. Exactly.
So really great, because we're able to utilize these different types. So people will be able to have a large option of how we're going to limit our torque, and then what type of drivers and bits that we might need, and there's a whole bunch of different configurations that I think will be. There's a whole bunch of different configurations, so for each person and their unique needs, I think that we really have the bases covered there.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, like you said, there's pros and cons to both of these torque limiters. If your eyesight's not great or you're in a rush, I think it makes much more sense if I need 12 just to grab the 12 instead of trying to mess with that. But in this type of a kit, if you are so limited in space and weight, like you're flying to a match, right? That extra couple of ounces can be the difference between
how much ammo you bring.
Yeah, exactly, right? Or being charged $100 because you're overweight, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So there's pros and cons to both of these. I really like that. That's amazing. And the fact that this is just so well put together, and it's that, soft rubber holds it in, that it's not like solid plastic where eventually it'll snap. That's just going to give.
Yeah, the design teams did a really great job with this. Like you said, it doesn't, because it's the softer rubber, you're not going to get any stress marks. These inserts aren't going to break like they do, with some of the earlier designs that you saw come out in the firearm industry.
Easily. Fantastic. That's awesome. So what else do we want to look at?
Well, again, if you're getting in new to firearms, something I think that everyone needs, especially if you're going to do your own maintenance and whatnot, I believe the Master Gun Vise is the go-to object that every person who's working on their firearms, whether they have an armament or whether they're just want to clean and everything else, that this is the object that they need. It just makes your life so much easier, assuming that you have the bench space, right? Because it does require you to be able to bolt it into the bench. So that is the one thing, you need that footprint there. That's the limitation of that, but what it gives you on top of that, I think, is well worth it.
So talk about it a little bit. Let us know, what am I going to use this for?
I mean, quite frankly, anytime that you need to hold a firearm or do any type of cleaning, I mean, I use this with everything, right? So at first glance, it's going to look like a regular type of vise, right? The jaws open and close, but what you're going to notice is you're going to see these two clips. This is the first unique thing about it, right? It has these shoes that now allow you to change based upon your needs, right? So you have, if you just were tightening down things, we have some sort of steel that's going to allow us to do so, right? If we're worried about how much we're going to mar up something or be abrasive or anything like that, now all of a sudden we have these shoes. This is a Teflon type of shoe. So it's going to be a hard surface like the steel, but it's not going to mar it up. And what we do is we put these pins on there that happen very quick. We're able to do that, and they won't move, right? If you need a gentler, maybe you have some sort of wood stock or something like that.
Like upgraded with like my Beretta DT D10 EELL. Yeah, we're talking a $15,000 gun, and that wood is pristine. I don't want to mar it up.
Yeah, absolutely not. I don't even want to talk about it because I feel like we're marring it up that way.
Yeah, right.
So in this case, that's what we'd be using here. We'd be using this type of surface. This is a closed cell foam.
Yeah.
It's very gentle. It's not going to put any detents into the or you know, cause any alterations within the wood itself. It's going to protect that wood.
Yeah.
So this would be my go-to at that. But we have other sleeves as well. We have another set of sleeves here. These are our Smart Jaw sleeves. What you're going to notice with this is kind of like a rubberized, right? So it's somewhere in between.
Oh yeah.
This non-marring surface and the softer surface. It's going to give you a little bit more gripping power, but it's still going to be less abrasive than, say, like anything else, right?
It gives just a little bit.
Just a little bit,
but
right?
It has really good gripping power right there. That's really great.
Yeah, so these are my personal favorite. They came out a year after the Vise did, you know, based upon customer input and whatnot and review. And I think that we really, again, hit the head on what we were doing with this. All right?
I agree. This is really, really nice. And then the fact that it's on a ball, I can adjust it so I can move the rifle any way I want to like if, you know, I've got to tilt the barrel up, I have that capability so without losing the grip in that. So instead of bring the barrel so I'm only making contact on a fraction of this, I can keep the full contact and then adjust the vise itself to get to the angle I need.
Yes, 100%. You stole my thunder a little bit. I was going on with that next. No, it's a great point. And I appreciate you saying that. So traditional fixed vices, right? So the first thing is we have the ability to change out these sleeves for our desired needs, right? But the magic in this vise was exactly what you said. So let's just say I needed something where I was using this rifle and I had to keep it canted upwards. This is, again, saying this is a traditional fixed vise. This is what would happen, like you said. I'd have to cant it off the vise. I'd have to do something like that. So that way I can get it over top and do all that type of stuff. That is not going to happen with this, right? Because what's going to happen here is we can put this exactly how you would in a more secure setting, right? And once this is viced down, it's nice and sturdy, right? Everything that you would need. But like you said, you could take this out and this works on what we call a ball pivot device, right? So we loosen that bolt up and now all of a sudden we can move this in any direction. If I need to work on this side of the firearm, I could do so. I could put that down. I could tighten that and now this allows me to reach over. And this works and it's so unique. Like it could work all different directions, right?
That's awesome.
Spins all around. Like there's not a direction that you can't put this in. And then whenever you need, you just stop it, right?
Wow, and that's so simple.
Exactly, right? And so what people often say is, well, what happens if we have to move it, right? How sturdy is this? The first thing I ask people to do is you can move it, you know, with some force if you had to hammer or something like that. But at Real Avid, they thought of everything here. What you're gonna look is, if you see, there's two cuts in the bottom of this ball, right?
Yep.
It looks like an X on the bottom of the ball. So they have a pin that comes out of the storage side right here, and you have the ability to now put that in there, just like you see right there. So now
that's a heavy lock.
Right, it's a heavy lock. You're going to rip this vise off the bench before that. The wood bench is going to fail before that lock is going to fail, right? And it has the ability to do that in two different locations. Horizontal, like you see, and then also straight vertical, like such, right? So it has the ability to, if you need to, like say you're going to take off a barrel nut or something that you need to put a little bit more torque into.
Now, is this strong enough to do like a barrel swap?
Oh yes, without a doubt.
Really?
Yeah.
So everything here gives you that flexibility, and the hard thing that a lot of people do in a vise is breaking that barrel nut and swapping out barrels, and this will cover that. That's incredible.
Absolutely,
The force on those is amazing. And by locking that ball, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is an all-in-one vise. I mean, you can swap out barrels, you can clean barrels, you know, anything that you need to do with it. You know, mate uppers to barrels, change out receivers, anything that you need to do on a firearm, you could do with this. Oh, we almost forgot one other really unique feature of this is, you know, I don't know, especially I guess in precision, it's very important, right? Is how level the optic is to the upper receiver, right? So one of the cool things that Real Avid came out with here is what we have a micro adjust. So what you're going to do is, I'll bring this back so you guys can see it again. So the basic premise of when you do this is you're gonna level the upper, right? So the top part of the receiver, and you might have to get to whatever position you do. You're gonna put a bubble level on that, and then you're gonna put your rings or your optic mount on it, and then you're gonna have to measure, or you're gonna have to level the optic, right? So that's kind of difficult sometimes because you're always putting shims and everything else under that. Well, right here, all you're gonna have to do is level, you're gonna bring this to approximate level, and then we have this knob here, and this allows you to do this little micro adjustment, so you can see how all we're going to now do is plumb that up to the receiver, or plumb up the receiver and then just stop right there. Now the receiver's plumb, imagine it, right? Yeah. And I put my optic on top, everything, square my optic up, plumb the optic, and now I have a mated receiver to the optic, and it's done. Awesome. Very, very simply.
I mean, amazingly simple. When you guys call it an all-in-one, it's truly an all-in-one.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
last vise you'll need.
Last vise that definitely last vise you'll need for firearms, at least. Yeah. If I was gonna get into the plumbing industry, we might need something else, but
yeah, it's a different type of plumb.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now personally, I would say buy that first. Because especially if you're going to be constructing a firearm, so you buy a barrel in action, you want to put it together, this is going to be a godsend to you. Like on when we do our Quest Hill Mile, a beginner's guide, we were actually constructing a rifle. We have a barrel to action. And then from there, we're going to be putting everything together and then eventually swapping that barrel for more of a match grade barrel. This is exactly what you need. Everything. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. Well, we've been
What's
working
the price point on this?
This is going to MSRP right around $279.
It's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't have the space on your bench, make space. Without question. Now, what do we have here?
So, this is our master grade workstation. All right. Okay. So what we did is we wanted, like we said before, not everyone has the ability to just have something permanently mounted to their bench, right? So what we did is we took a lot of the features from our master grade vise and added it to our master grade workstation, right?
Great.
And basically what you're going to see here is you're going to see the ability to hold and retain your firearm, right? And it takes up a bigger footprint, but have the ability to move it, put it into your attic or your garage or your cabinet or anything else like that. So no need to lock it down. It's its own self-contained unit, right? Big things about this is it has the ability to adjust for length, and then it also has the ability to adjust for height when you're doing your firearms maintenance, right? So you're just going to come back in, you just set that inside, and then one hand ability to tighten that down. And now, whether we have the action open, closed, any parts broken apart, we're able to utilize that in this situation, right?
That's fantastic.
Right, and one thing I didn't say about this is that everything integrates with our Smart Assist system, right? So you're going to see these like little ports here. We have them in our workbench. We have them in our vise as well.
Yeah, like right here.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So all fit these alligator clips, right? Our Smart Assist system works off this alligator clip system, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really solid too.
Uh-huh. And for instance, with this, we'll show you on this side, once you clip those in, now you have the ability to use these attachments that we came up with, in this case a light, something that you would need lots of. The light itself is rechargeable, has multiple different light settings. Sorry to blind you, it also has the ability to come out, right? Oh. So if you were working on something down here and you need to really look, that works as well. And then if you just wanted hovering light, that works as well. Along with that, we also have you know, magnification for all you old guys. This doesn't have anything to do with this.
What are you trying to say?
And we have a cell phone holder, so we can watch your tutorials on how to do things while we're actually doing it ourselves.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, right. So it comes in a 3-part set. You get the cell phone holder, the magnifying glass, and the light all together, right?
How do you attach the coffee maker?
Oh, that's coming out for 26.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this does pretty much everything. Just needs to drive me to the gun store and make me coffee, and then it would be perfect. Wow, this is a beautiful system. So I actually have one of your older vices, which I use all the time. I liked it so much, I bought the one that had the legs on it too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I can actually sit at the couch and work on it without having to be at the bench or having a table. What I love about the Avid products is they're very easy to assemble. They're built tough, and there's so much flexibility. Like you can see, there's all these different things where you can, add tools, add lights. I mean, it's just if you could think of it, which I'm sure Avid has, is you can put it on here.
Right. Yeah, we really created an ecosystem as far as they all kind of work and combine together. I think that's important. They build upon each other. Even like our cases, they're stackable, right? Like, so if you we have punch sets, we have along with our X3 drivers and everything like that. All these cases mate together and nest together, right? So everything really works as a system and a whole together, right? We really work really hard with our engineering teams to make sure all these things do that.
Perfect stack. I love that. That's really well thought out, and that makes a big difference. I mean, when you're working on a bench, space is vital.
Yes.
So if I can have the tools stack up, you can stack them high, but it's that, that space.
Small footprint.
That small footprint.
Yeah,
makes
especially if you're
difference.
anything like me where somehow things accumulate on that bench, right?
Exactly. Well, even like this bench, if I want to, I can screw it down on the bench here. It's got a hole to mount it.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
and that makes a difference. You can even go further by just using like small steel pins that would fit in there and just drill the hole, pin it so it doesn't move anywhere on the bench, and then just pop out the pins and take it down and put it away.
Yeah, sure you can.
That's brilliant. This is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Tim, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely,
I really
Robert,
appreciate
anytime.
it.
Yeah. Happy to have it.